I'm just so excited that we get to do another book club, another hit. I know it's been a while, but what I love so much about this is that when you're writing, when you're in the place of writing, the coolest thing I think is that what you're actually doing is you're seeding information going out to attract people to really respond to what you're passionate about.
Yeah, that's a good way of putting it.
And what I love about your book, particularly, is that it's really about all the stories people told you about having a baby. So think about that. Ancestrally, all those stories, friend-wise, all of those stories, that networking. And then on top of it, you shared your information. And then you asked other people to share their information. So, what a huge network you are casting for your book.
Yeah, that was the hope. Well, first of all, Robin, thank you for naming that. If
Can
you
you
had,
share the title of your book one more time?
yes, it's called Swaddled, Compassionate, Honest Stories to Wrap Mothers in Love. So I love that you named the process. If you had done so at the head of my process, it might have paralyzed me. But since it's in the rear view mirror, it feels really good. And to tie it back to your opening comment about what we're accomplishing in writing, you know, I kind of feel like my chapter in my own book was a mini memoir, if you will, about a very specific happening in my life. And so, really, my book is a collection of mini memoirs, other people's written
Yeah.
by me. And so, like you're saying, throw the net wide. My hope is to send the message of you're not alone, right? To anyone who's grappling with reconciling their own experience with what society makes us expect. So I figured if I shared a collective that people would be able to see themselves in at least one or two, right? I stood a better chance of relatability if I was
So, you
sharing.
know something that's so interesting that you're saying that? I just have to touch on this. So, I have an intuitive deck. I actually got it.
I
And
need to touch it. I can't wait.
yeah. And one of the things about this deck that's very different from some of the other decks that I have, and I don't even know how many I have, like 50, and is that what I wanted to do in the book, that little mini book that comes with it is
Yeah.
that I wanted to actually give information about how you can read cards. Because the thing about it is, I always felt that when I'm reading cards for somebody from whatever deck, I have so many of them, right? But if I actually read the deck and then open up that little book that comes with this box, now you're really listening to Colette Baron read. You're not
Mhm.
listening to me, or what I'm thinking, what I'm feeling, the energy I'm getting. So I don't look at the the book that comes with this deck. I
Got it.
look at the card and I get the energy from the card. And here's a little secret. It's channeling, really, is what I'm doing. And I don't tend to say it because it's kind of a put off for some people. It's a little scary when I start to say that kind of stuff to people who aren't really interested in spirituality or scared of it. And
Yeah,
so when I say things like that to people, they're like, oh, it's too much. But the truth of it is, we all channel.
we do.
And your book and the stories of your book
Oh,
is that.
okay. I take that as a tremendous compliment because I believe we do all channel, some more formally than others.
Yes.
And so thank you for saying that. I take it as a compliment because I want to give voice. Part of the goal in my book is beyond sharing the stories of those included, is to inspire the sharing of many who read it and to create that community. Before we go further, pull your card.
For you. I'll pull a card for
We're
you.
so distracted by so much good combo. Okay, so you did write a booklet for your deck.
I did. I did. I wrote a book. This is the book.
Okay.
And
Oh, it's so
in the
cute.
deck, in this book, it teaches you really like what do you do when you read a card? And then on top of it, I have spreads in here so that you know how to let it go. So you can find a soul whisper. And then I have about 15 more that I will share with people. Like I have another one on shift your perspective. And it actually shows you the cards and what they represent. You know, what's showing up for you? What do you have to release? What do you have to shift? That actually tells you what you're doing so that you actually become your own oracle. And the real belief that I have is we all are. But
Right.
what stands in between feeling as though you actually are or not that is this like very thin line that we
Yes.
all have to sort of just hop over on the other side, right? It's like the
Right.
distance between I love reading books to I'm a writer.
Yeah.
Like you have to
Yeah.
get in your brain that oh, I'm an author. Like I can do that. But you
Right.
have to like almost like swallow the pill and believe it yourself that you're enough to be that.
Yeah. I will admit, I guess short of swallowing the pill, Robin, I've written down an affirmation around my belief and identification as a writer or whatever it is. I'm a worthy writer. I am an XYZ. And I stick it in my bra.
Good for you. You should. Keep it really close. And you know what's really funny is I decided that I was that person who was on the other side of the line, thinking I was intuitive. I didn't know how to do it, and I didn't know how to turn it on. I didn't know what I was doing. All of that stuff until I decided I wanted to step over the line.
Right.
And then I didn't just step over it. I actually like cemented my feet onto the other side.
But you're saying it was a conscious choice and it was an action.
It was. And that my real pleasure is working with people. Like I say to people, work with me for 4 weeks, 4 weeks, and you will see a humongous shift from wherever you are and your ability to trust yourself and where you'll be in 4 weeks, 4 weeks time. Because what happens is when you don't do it consecutively like that, you sort of just go back into that resistance part of yourself because it feels like you're sort of changing your whole identification of what you see yourself as. You're
Yeah.
writing a book right now, you know, you're getting it published in March. But do you tell people you're an author?
Not yet.
So what's standing in
I
between?
say I'm a writer because I write.
Right.
I think I'll consider myself a published author when it's published. But back to what you were saying about 4 weeks, Robin, that reminds me of any practice that we take on, whether it's a yoga practice,
Yeah,
whether
Duolingo,
a,
whatever.
a new nutritional paradigm,
Yeah.
you stick with it, you're consistent with it for a period of time. That's the only way, any training, because in essence, wouldn't you say those who work with you are in training in the sense that they're opening themselves to?
Well, I think it's almost like if you can imagine yourself going up an icy mountain, like you're going up, it's vertical, okay? And now you're going to go up and you're going to dig your foot in. So you really are going. You really
Right.
want to head up, right?
Yeah.
And then a doubt comes in, and then you sort of slip back down a little bit, right?
Mhm.
But if you don't keep going, taking that next step up, the doubt comes in your mind,
Yeah.
becomes resistance,
Yeah.
and then you start questioning if it's real or not, if
Oh,
you're real or not, if you're enough or not, if you have a worth enough or not, if you have enough value to do it. And it's the same thing about claiming that you're claiming, like identifying with the fact that you actually are a writer. You wrote a manuscript.
yeah.
You could say
Yeah.
you are a writer today,
Yeah.
but in your brain, you're telling yourself, I'm not a writer yet.
That stake in the ground needs to come, that milestone, that, yeah,
and
yeah, yeah. Good. I
and the
literally have
truth is, between today and the day that you hold your book in your hand, you wrote the book already.
right. That's done. Yeah.
So to me, you are an author.
Thank you. I'm going to say Robin said.
Yeah. Because the truth is, you are.
Yeah, I had
You
that
are an
conversation
author.
today with somebody at lunch in terms of, your mountain analogy, but when the momentum pauses, there is risk there. In inaction is a typical and I'd say justifiable reaction or symptom or happening out of that lack of momentum. If you stop going up, then you're going to slip. And so when you're in those points of pause, it's up to us to determine what our actions can be, the things that we can control when we can't
But you
control
see,
so much.
that's why I wanted to create this group,
Yeah. Oh, it's
because
so necessary.
when you are, it is such a solo sport.
Yeah.
I like to think of it like a sport
Yeah.
because you really have to have, like, when you actually are an athlete, you have to have the right mindset
Mhm.
and
I
you
love
have to
it.
have the commitment, right?
Yeah.
And you have to be able to have the follow through to do it. And you have to be fearless. And I'm sorry,
It's
if
so true.
anybody is out there who's listening to this, who's an author, can tell me that you don't need all of those things to be an author, I have to say you're wrong. You
Yeah.
have to have the commitment, you have to have the fearlessness, you have to have the strategy in your brain, and you have to believe that you actually can do it.
Right. Yeah.
I know I'm not running a mile, but to me, sometimes once you get that little paragraph the right way, sometimes it feels like I have.
Heck yes. Heck yes. And it's nice to have people not only to celebrate with once that paragraph is right, but all along the way, because it can be painful.
And you know what else
Mhm.
happens? And I don't know if this happened to you, but when you're writing, I don't really have a specific schedule. I'm sure you can figure that out. I'm not a schedule person. And so I used to think back a long time ago that I lost it, similar to intuition. You sort of feel like, oh, well, I haven't really practiced it, so maybe it's not a thing anymore, right?
Mm.
But what happens is for me writing this novel, as soon as I open up the PDF with my novel and I remember the characters and I get back into the story, it just comes like your
Yeah.
intuition. So when you believe that you have that ability to, like, I can just go back in there and I'll be able to keep writing.
Yes. And another thing that comes up as you say all of that, Robin, is for me, I have to touch it regularly. again, the risk comes when I'm not looking at it regularly because there's not an action for me to take right now. And so I forget how much I love it.
You know what you should do? You should talk about it.
Well, I'm going to start in January. I'm going to start talking about it.
You should start talking about it. But the thing that I think that um, that I always think is so compelling is like what you, why you wanted to do it.
Yeah. My why.
And
And I've got a good why. Yeah.
I know you do. And
Yeah.
I,
So do you. But we all do. All of
yes,
us.
yes.
All of
Well,
us.
because you can't be passionate and be a writer. It just doesn't really actually work. You can't not be passionate.
Well, let's do this because unfortunately I'm
Oh, yeah,
short
I'm
on
pulling a
time
card
to
for you. So I
well,
just wanted to show you. I'm going to pull a card. Hang on. This is my deck. So I'm pulling a card from my deck. The first time I'm pulling a deck,
doesn't that feel wonderful?
unbelievable.
Congratulations.
Unbelievable.
Congratulations. I'm honored that I'm here
So
to
this
share.
is the back of the card, the sun and
Very
the
beautiful.
moon.
Very
And the
beautiful.
hummingbird is one of my spirit animals. So that's the back of the card.
Wait, so each
And
one is different or each one is the
no, this is
same?
the back. The backs of all the cards look exactly the same.
It's gorgeous.
Thank you. And oh, wait till you see the card you pulled. I got
How
you.
did you know?
So this is your card. And what's really great about this deck is, see how it says 17?
Yeah.
You can go to chapter 17, and that's what this card is about.
Wow. That's a beautiful, beautiful,
But I'm going to read this card to
beautiful.
you.
Okay.
And so what's interesting about this card is, if you can see, it's a rabbit, right?
Yeah.
Who's in their little home.
And that's, yes.
And the thing about it is that the rabbit is all green, and green is really all about heart, like your heart chakra, about
Yeah.
loving yourself, loving your heart chakra, and actually being safe within that space that you feel is yours, your heart, your home, like that space. And I feel like that safety net that you have around you is something that you've worked really hard to create, because I think at some points in your life that wasn't there. And so the creation of your safety net, your safe haven,
Mhm.
is like so important to you. But the problem is sometimes when that safe haven is so good, you almost become like a hermit because you sort of stay in there because it's what you feel comfortable in. And getting out of it feels like you're losing that part of yourself. So this card actually is a reminder that the safe haven that you actually created is in you. And it comes with you wherever you go. That you
Oh, I love
actually don't have to be in your home to feel it. That you are that protected person that you worked so hard to create in your home, wherever you
any you
go.
go. Wow, are you spot on with that, Robin? Because you are talking to a tremendous homebody to a fault. And so you hit it. And I am so excited about your deck. And I trust that you will let all of us know
Oh,
when
I
it
will. I'll let you know when it hits Amazon and
when
when you
it's
can buy it.
available.
And
And
I'm also going to be teaching a class on so how you can read your own cards.
yeah,
I
because
mean, it's really special when you go to a person like me and I read the cards for you because you have a different vantage point of somebody looking at it. You know, it's sort of like I don't know, if you go to somebody who's an expert in makeup, right? Like you might be really great at it, but when you go to a person who does this for a living,
Takes it to the next level. Yeah.
yeah. So it's not that we
It's a
can't
treat.
learn it. It's just that when you go to somebody like me, I see it from a different height.
Right. It's a special treat.
I hope so. Yeah. Yeah.
Yes. So let us get back together soon.
Yes.
And when we do, maybe we all talk about our whys.
I would love that. I would love that. And I'm
Okay,
going to post it.
congratulations.
So let me look at my calendar right quick. We were saying mid-January, right?
Yes.
So I want to wish everybody a really happy Thanksgiving. I'm going to pop on, excuse me, in December and just do a pop-up thing. But I'm thinking, what if we did like January 16th or January 17th? Which one works for you?
I would say probably, oh, that I'm looking at 2024. It'd help if I looked at the right year. Well, yeah, I would say probably the 16th, the 17th of Friday. So that might
We
be,
could also do the 13th or the 14th. I mean, I'm, pretty
yeah,
flexible.
yeah, probably 13th, 14th is better for me.
Okay.
So that'll be fantastic, and happy Thanksgiving to you and yours.
You too. You too.
Okay. Bye. Congratulations. This was
You too,
great.
sweetie.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.